WION correspondent Julia Chapman sent us this report from Moscow.
They have become the source of concern for China because over the weekend there have been reports that most of the cases, the new reported cases in China, have originated in Russia. They have all been Chinese citizens returning home, having been based in Russia and are now trying to get back to China. On Saturday, we understand there was a flight from Moscow to Shanghai where around 50 people were diagnosed with coronavirus on return to their homeland of China. And then on Sunday, we also understand that a similar number of cases were reported in Heilongjiang in the northeast of China, having crossed over the land border from Russia's far eastern city of Vladivostok, because that has been one of the ways that Chinese people trying to get home have been doing so, rather than trying to fly directly, which has become increasingly complicated over the last few weeks as flights have been halted and the borders have been almost shut down. People have been trying to travel internally within Russia to the far east and then try to cross the land border there. And that has been one way that they have been able to get through. But this is becoming a big problem for China, the idea of returning citizens coming back to China and infecting the population there. But of course, there are many people living and working in Russia who are now finding themselves under lockdown, like we are in Moscow, unable to work, unable to support themselves economically, and not being Russian citizens. Of course, they're not entitled to benefits that the government is giving out to its own people. The second wave is of great concern to the whole world because as countries are trying to get to grips with their individual outbreaks, of course, all the world has been interconnected, and even now that most flights have been halted, many borders have been closed, travel has been incredibly limited around the world. There are still people trying to get home to their respective countries, like Chinese citizens living in Russia and like many other people around the world. In Russia, there are an expected 39,000 Russian citizens living around the world who are trying to get back to Russia and struggling very much to do so. And as they do come back, they could be bringing the disease from other parts of the world. That said, Russia does have an increasing number of cases itself. Here inside the country, the numbers are now exceeding 15,000. They're growing every day by almost 2,000, and that is becoming a very big problem for Russia to get to grips with here. But as more people come back to Russia and the people leave Russia to go elsewhere, we are certainly seeing more cases growing. And as you mentioned, that it becomes very difficult to contain because it's not necessarily happening in one part of a country. People are returning to various parts of the country. So that's something that people around the world are certainly concerned with, that a second wave could make it even more difficult to get this disease under control.